Amp Media Production presents Gypsy Soul, your one-stop shop for letting out your inner gypsy. Join Denise Marsh as she brings on a variety of guests to share their artistic vision with the world.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Gypsy Soul. I'm your host, Denise Marsh, and I'm so happy to be with you today for a fantastic, magical, and funny show. So with all the sadness in the world, let today be fun, let today be full of shenanigans, let today be a time to just get into a good mood, because we all need it, don't we? There's too many things happening in the world. Sometimes we just need to escape in a good way and just find a peaceful place or find a funny place. So I hope you have a place like that. Every time I come to this studio, I feel like I have a place like that, and that's very special to me and very dear to my heart. So I wanted to talk about embracing this distraction sometimes, the distraction from the outside, and finding things that make us happy. Because the only way that we can embrace our inner gypsy is when we can embrace this spirit, this greater being, and this point of connection to ourselves and to other people that we care about. So I wrote a poem about it, and I've read it before on this show, but it's a poem that definitely bears repeating, and it's called Erasing Time. And it might be in a book one day, you never know. It might be a title of a book, but I would like to read it to you. Erasing Time. The dust hadn't settled, cobwebs lingered and waited for a new dawn. Clouds and sun commenced for their morning soiree. Zillions of traffic lights geared up for the race of the day. People moved motionless, and my pen sat untethered, poised, lost in a glorious reverie, dancing on possibilities, smirking at my private victory, the words spilling off the pages. The world outside proceeded right on track, predictability and pain, seconds, minutes, hours. Hang on, guys. Uncertain I am, my power unleashed, my story, my fortress, erasing time. I really have a special connection with that poem. I mean, I have a special connection with all my poems, but that one really stands out, and it's very appropriate for today's show, very appropriate for the world as we are right now. On to today's guest, which I'm so excited about. I met Marty at an open mic at Village Music in Wellington. You have to go there, great talent. He was witty, still is, charismatic, and brought back the magic into my life and everyone's life around me, and he still does. It's a very different episode with laughs and tricks and comedy and shenanigans. Stay tuned, because Martin Steinberg, aka Magic Marty, is going to do some magic and comedy for you after a short commercial break. Stay tuned for a great show.
Hey there, have you heard of the new show Gypsy Soul? It's hosted by the one and only Denise Marsh. Listen in as she helps you release your inner gypsy with the best in South Florida, with plenty of special guests with their own talents to inspire your inner gypsy. Tune in every other Thursday on your preferred streaming platform.
Welcome to the AMP Media Futures Foundation. We amplify students by connecting them with industry partners to develop essential career skills. Please help support the interns of AMP Media Futures Foundation through a one-time or a monthly donation. You help us by providing them a hands-on opportunity in production, business, and communication. Your generous donation can help provide funds for equipment software and mentorship programs. Show your support by a message of your choice. You can donate by card, PayPal, or ACH services. Check out AMP Media Futures Foundation at ampfutures.org and help them power through the media industry.
Hey, Gypsy Soul. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to personally thank Denise for that lovely introduction. And I'm Magic Marty. And I'd love to do a couple of introduction magic effects for you. Magicians usually work with coins, and sometimes they work with cards, and sometimes they even work with more cards. But what I'd like to do is first kind of make a public statement, and that's my magic is more than entertainment. It should give you an inner feeling of belief and trust, and something that's really needed in our society today more than ever before. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Denise to step up. And Denise, you can help me out with this. This is a regular deck of cards. And I'm going to ask you to select a card. Just say stop.
Stop.
Look at the card. Show it to the audience. Don't show it to me. And I'm going to try and find that card. Okay, let's see. Let's put it back in the middle of the deck. You know what the card was, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to give the deck a little shuffle. And I'm going to take the top card, the 10 of diamonds. Hold your hand out. Put your hand on top of it so it doesn't get away. Okay, and was your card the 10 of diamonds?
No.
It wasn't. Oh, how embarrassing. In the event of a situation like this, okay, I have a special insurance policy. This is the Gypsy Soul Magic Podcast insurance policy, and it should give me full coverage. And you're not going to believe this, but look at this. Your card is right there. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that that's a con, that's not really magic. That's just like a silly effect. But see, but if I took this and I sent this thing away in the mail to Lloyd's of Denise Marsh podcast, it would come back and it would give me full coverage.
Yes.
Now, what was that card in your hand before?
That was the card.
The 10 of what?
Yes.
Take the 10 out of your hand and look at it. Okay, and see, magicians was the queen. Look at that. The interesting thing is that let me legitimately shuffle this up again, because I think you'll really enjoy this part. All right?
I always enjoy your magic.
Thank you. I always said you had good taste. Okay, you're going to love this.
You want me to hold it?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, but you got to concentrate on the design. You see the design there?
Yes.
Right? Concentrate on it and think of your card, because this is a mental effect. One of my favorite mental effects, because I'm pretty mental. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I got so scared.
All right. So I guess that's my magic introduction, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. Right? Thank you.
Everybody loved it. All right. So, Marty, I'm so happy that you're here. We waited a long time for this.
Well, I was looking forward to it, I must say.
We waited for the perfect moment to have you on. You know, it had to be the right time, and we found it. So how did you get started with magic?
Well, when I was very young, my parents wanted me to become a doctor, but I wasn't smart enough, so I became a magician. I got into magic when I was about 3 years old. My older brother, who was born in 1923, I'm 82 years old,
Young,
was getting
years young.
82 years young, was getting married. And he was just out of the service. He was a Navy corpsman. And he was just out of the service, and he was into cigarette magic. and coin magic. And even though I was 3 years old, I was able to make a cigarette disappear. I didn't smoke. I still don't smoke. Probably because I'm not old enough now. But that's how I got started. And the brother between us, I was the youngest, but the second oldest was also into the coin magic and cigarette magic, and they both smoked like crazy. And
So you're the healthier one?
I was the health. I outlived all of them.
Right.
I outlived all of them. My father had a Pepsi Cola route, and he basically delivered Pepsi and their affiliated products to a number of stores, cafes, bars throughout the Bronx area. And when he got out of that business, they opened up a sporting goods store in the Bronx. And in that sporting goods store, we sold little magic tricks that we bought from a place in New York City called Easy Magic. And I was a big fan of magic. At that time, I was about 9 years old when my dad opened the store. But I would very often get on a train. It was 10 cents for a subway train ride in New York City when I was a kid.
Anymore.
And I still remember trolley cars. That's how old I am. And I would go down with two of my friends to 34th Street to Al Flasso's magic shop, and Al would show us tricks and talk to us and kind of took us under his wing. And, we were little kids. I was 10, 11 years old, sneaking out, going down there. So he was pretty straight. He never looked to sell us anything outside of a book. And Lou Tannen's Magic in New York City was the same way. But I remember going down to Lou Tannen's. I was about 12 years old, and Lou wouldn't sell me anything because he was afraid that my parents would come in and complain that he took advantage of me. But I had saved up $50.
Which was a lot?
Which was a lot back then. Okay? That was, 1955, around there. And he says that if I'm really serious in the magic and I didn't want to buy a book, he would send me over to a magician that he would give me a lesson. He gets $50 a half hour, but that he would give me a good lesson and it would be well worth it. So I went over to that magician who lived on the west side of Manhattan, was walking distance, and he gave me a 3.5-hour lesson for $25. And his name was Slidini. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. That was my first real magic lesson. But being 12 years old, I didn't have the brains to go back to him again. And my father, we also sold toys, so he bought basically all the tricks that Easy Magic would sell. He had a trick where you put a nickel on your head and you take the nickel off and you hand it to somebody. And it's an easy trick to do because the nickel had a nail in it.
Ah, that's
So it was a laugh. And got into a lot of sight gigs over the years, as a result of this. The nice thing about magic is that it gives you an insight. And, rather than just doing 50 tricks to talk about, things like what I'm going to talk about now, it gives you an insight into people, if they're friendly, if you want to befriend them, if you want to stay away from them. You develop an insight just the way they react to you.
Do you think magic is universal like that?
Without question, because when I was in the Navy, I was walking the streets in Paris, okay, and I would stop in my uniform, and at that point, nobody really wanted to have to do with anybody that was American because of the Vietnam War. And even though we bailed France out of Vietnam, but they shouldn't have been there, and we shouldn't have been there. But at any rate, we're not getting into politics.
Nope.
But I would stop on the street, and I'd look around, and I'd pick up a silver dollar off the floor. And people would stop, and I would look around, and I would hand it to them, and there would be nothing there. I'd be riding the train, the underground trains there, and I would be playing with some magic, and they would be watching me. I would be playing with some cards. I would be doing, cuts and, and fans, and they would be watching me. And then I would, motion to them, or there'd be a little girl or a little boy on the train, and they'd come over and I'd do some magic, and I'd have a hat tear. But the thing is that it's a venue, it's a path to your audience's heart. Okay? I think magicians like Lance Burton, David Copperfield, Doug Henning, that they've really said it best. I mean, there are some fantastic magicians out there. Some that come to mind that aren't as popular outside of the magic world, but like a Jeff McBride. Jeff McBride is a wonderful, wonderful magician and a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person.
You know what, Marty? I think, to speak at what you were talking about before, I think magic definitely brings out an emotional side in people. And, you're able to do that very well, especially mixing comedy throughout, which not a lot of people can handle. Do you mostly work with adults? Do you ever do kids' parties, or do you do adult parties? Like, where do you do your magic? Where can people see you?
I've worked a number of community health care facilities. I've done birthday parties. My true background and calling would really be corporate, or anything to do with corporation. In other words, if Kia or any one of the major car companies had called me up to work an event for them, I would be, without question, would be the key thing, because I would be there doing what they want to do, and that's sell cars. In other words, it's not the entertainment, it's not the trick, it's how everybody from the audience leaves. That's the key. That's always the key.
Yeah, because you have to read the room.
Right.
And some of your magic won't,
One
apply everywhere.
of the things that that I learned in my historical magical readings was that Harry Houdini would dress up in disguise, wear a crazy hat, wear a false beard, and he would go into the lobby of the theater prior to the performance. And he would listen in on conversations and mingle, not talk, but mingle with the people and listen in on conversations. And he was able to read the audience and read certain things that were going on. Like, for instance, if somebody had a birthday, okay, and, he'd be able to do a mentalist thing, and,
So you're an observer. So magicians are big observers.
I think any performer is an observer. I've watched you go on stage at the place that we frequently both visit, Village Music.
In Wellington.
Okay, in Wellington. And I've watched you sit down, take a deep breath, pause yourself. You always have that nervousness about you when you go on. I don't know why. Because you're smooth as silk, right?
Thank you.
And but you immediately size up the audience. You're looking who's going to pick. Okay, you're involving them, and that's a key thing for any performer, whether you're singing, whether you're dancing, watch a Fred Astaire. Any one of these venues, any one of these performance venues, it all has to do with how you're perceived and how your audience perceives you.
It's true. It really is about connection, which brings me to my next question. Where do you go to connect? What are some of the venues that you perform at? I know you perform regularly at Village Music. Where else do you perform?
Well, I like to do a lot of freelance. So I'm at the age, and fortunately I'm in a financial position that I don't have to do it for the money at this point. Okay, so I've done a number of nonprofits. There's a group called Friendship Angels, and they run a couple of events each year for children. And there's a food service bank that's right near us in Boynton Beach, and they give away 2,000 turkeys. And I set up with a number of my magician friends, and we'll do magic for the people coming by, walking by, or if it gets slow, we go to them. There's the Boynton Beach Boat Bash, which is an annual event. That's a volunteer thing for us. Okay, I've been to 3 of them so far. I haven't been to one where I haven't given my name and address out, and gotten shows out of it. And the shows are a really good example of that. Okay, I'm going to make up a story. Okay, about 3 weeks ago, me and a number of friends did an event for a church, and we were being paid for it. We got $450. There were 2 of us. And it's not a lot of money, but it was for a church, and for a lot of the children were disabled. And they also had a car raffle, and they were raffling off, selling the raffle tickets, and we gave them the $450 back as a gift, and they gave us the raffle tickets, which we gave away, and I kept 2 of them. And we just found out that I won a Toyota.
That's great. Marty, you are the best. We are running out of time here. I wanted to thank you so much for being on the show. We're not done yet, though. Don't go anywhere. It's been a great joy to have you here. Thank you for bringing out my Gypsy Soul, everyone else's Gypsy Soul, and bringing back the magic into our lives. So I wanted to thank all of you for watching this show. Don't forget to embrace your inner gypsy. And don't forget that we have a bonus Gypsy Soul episode on the 31st, a very spicy and zesty one. But before we go anywhere, Marty is going to close out the show with some magic and comedy for you.
The duck will find the card that I just shuffled into the deck and shuffled before, that Denise had picked before. But we're going to do it the hard way. Magicians never give their secrets away, but I know you're going to want to know how the duck was able to do it. Blindfolded, and he was able to do it because it's a Peking duck. And with that, I would like to say thank you, Denise, and thank you, viewers of Gypsy Soul, and of all the podcasts that I've done, this is the most recent. And if you like my magic, I'm Magic Marty. And if you didn't, I'm David Coppertone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Gypsy Soul. Make sure to stop by next time for another enlightening show. A show that was produced by Ant Media Productions and hosted by Denise Marsh.